Don't mess with the ILWU. I said, am I right or wrong? Are we weak or strong? Am I right or wrong? Are we weak or strong? Am I right or wrong? Are we weak or strong? Am I right or wrong? Are we weak or strong? Free Mumia now! My name is David Newton. I have the honor of representing our fallen soldiers and our soldiers that are here, still here in the struggle. I'm a member of the ILWU Local 10, and the Dr. Huey P. Newton Foundation is out here. I'm the legacy of that also. I'm the nephew. We have some speakers. We have 3 talking points. Number 1, we demand justice, and we want the freeing of Mumia Abu-Jamal. And when I say number 1, it's not in any particular order. But this man is alive, and we need him on soil when he can eat at his own leisurely time. This man has been locked up for 42 years. The second point, talking point, we demand justice for Tyre Nichols, who was brutally beaten in Memphis, Tennessee, by what you call 5 police officers. I don't know what I call them. No! The public has spoken. His family is out here today. Yeah. His brother Michael is here. So you're right. And his other cousins and sisters and brothers. And we are all his brothers and sisters. Right on. Mumia Abu-Jamal's grandson is out here today. Right on. The ILWU is out here today. Yeah. We had the San Francisco Teachers Union out here today. We have the Oakland Teachers Union out here today. We have the young women of Palestine out here today. We're going to go through the list one by one. The third talking point, we want the abolishment of police terrorism. So we're going to bring to the stage our frontline soldier that demands the microphone first, the original G, none other than Mr. Clarence Thomas. This is a historic day. People need to understand that when you, as a union, refuse to work, lay down your tools without the permission of the bosses, this is a revolutionary action. This is not just a radical action, and it hasn't just started today. My name is Brother Clarence Thomas. Whoever called me Mr., that's out of order. I'm a 3rd-generation longshore worker, but today I'm speaking as a veteran of the Black liberation movement. Yeah. If my grandmother were here, you know what she would say? Clarence, there for the grace of God go you. You could have been locked up. Because I was a member of the party. There are a number of comrades who are not here today. Some were killed, some were victims of COINTELPRO set up by the FBI. Others are like Mumia Abu-Jamal and many, many others who are languishing in these hellholes. One of the reasons that I feel obligated to give my time, I'm retired now, is because I feel a sense of obligation to that brother and all of those who are locked up, because there for the grace of God, that could have been me. And I'm just so grateful to be here with you today. But let me just tell you one thing about Mumia Abu-Jamal. He, like countless of others, during the Black liberation upsurge of the 1960s, we all had our consciousness raised by the movement. Malcolm X, Martin Luther King's struggle, the Deacons of Defense, Stokely Carmichael, Kwame Ture, as you may know him, and so many, Huey P. Newton, Bobby Seale. There's so many others that I could name. But I just want to tell you this. Mumia has thanked the ILWU for the actions that have been taken, because let's just be real about this. In 1999, all 29 ports on the West Coast were shut down. That did not happen today. But you want to know one thing? Local 10 has not forgotten. Yeah. Because we understand what it means to have to fight for radical leaders. Even our own Harry Bridges was prosecuted 4 times by the federal government for various trumped up charges. People like Tom Mooney, We've stood for Angela Davis in 1971. This just did not start today. And for every one of you who are here, understand this. There are people around the world who know about this action that you're taking. And you know, ILWU Local 10 needs to be acknowledged for something that they did very recently. Sent a delegation of 14 people to South Africa. What other union in the United States of America would do such a thing? Power to the people means something. The man who spoke before I got up here, David Newton, he's the nephew of Huey P. Newton. If Huey were alive today to be able to see that his nephew is carrying on the struggle within the most radical union in the United States of America, and may I dare say in the world. As a result of our visit to South Africa, David Newton and Jack Heyman met with the head of NUMSA, the National Union of Metal Workers of South Africa, the largest union in South Africa. They have agreed to use this date up to March 16th to mobilize and organize for Mumia's freedom. They're going to write letters. But let me just say one thing before I close out. Could you imagine if the Teamsters, the rail workers, airline pilots, all transportation workers in the United States of America had have taken off today? Mumia would be out. Right. And not only would Mumia be out, all of the political prisoners would be out. Because today, by the longshore workers not working, that means that no cargo is moved in the port of San Francisco and the port of Oakland. That means that trucking schedules are disrupted. That means that rail schedules are being disrupted. And the only reason why the employer ain't saying anything about this, because they know if they did, we shut down tonight too. That's the power of the rank and file. I'm going to conclude, but I want you all to say this. An injury to one is an injury to all. Free Mumia Abu-Jamal. Let's say it 3 times. An injury to one is an injury to all. Free Mumia Abu-Jamal. An injury to one is an injury to all. Free Mumia Abu-Jamal. One more time. An injury to one is an injury to all. Free Mumia. Free them all. Free them all.
For today, this is American soil. I had to give you a moment of honesty. I was embarrassed to say I was an American out there. Embarrassed. We are the bastard children of this land, but this is the land that our grandmothers have bled on. This is the land that our mothers, fathers, cousins have bled on. Now this is our land. We say African American first. Emphasize on the African. Yeah. But we are here, we want justice, we want equal treatment. Let's bring on the next speaker. Local 10, president, off and on, business agent, activist, you name it, he is the blood of the ILWU. We call him Buster Trent Willis.
Know me, my name is Trent Willis. I'm the immediate past president and proud to be the immediate past president and current business agent of the greatest local in the entire world, the International Longshore Warehouse Union, Local 10. Right, so I'll be brief, brothers and sisters. For all of you who are not in Local 10 that we know out here, we want to just say, if I can, brothers and sisters from Local 10, I want to welcome each and every one of you brothers and sisters from the community. I want to send a special welcome to my brother right here, Brother Chairman Hampton is in the house. Okay, I want to give a special guest to shout out to everybody that came with you and all other brothers and sisters who came out here to join us for this very important, very important message that we're trying to send to this capitalist country. Okay, so if you had the luxury of traveling all around the world and talking to different people, and not just being a person from a progressive area, you will find that you have people in this country that think this is the greatest democracy in the world. If you talk to them, if you look at Fox News, You hear all of them saying, this is the greatest democracy in the world. Everybody should be happy here. It's the greatest democracy in the world. Well, the greatest democracy in the world shouldn't have political prisoners.
That's right.
Okay, because the word democracy itself will tell you that we shouldn't have political prisoners. Because if you're in the greatest democracy, that means everybody has a voice. Everybody has the voice where they have the right to question the powers that be when people are being oppressed. Now, if you want to be one of the people who are fooled and listening to the propaganda and you believe Brother Mumia is in jail for shooting a cop, you are sadly mistaken. Okay, that's what he was accused of. Because in a country that claims it is the greatest democracy in the world, they can't tell you that they have Mumia in jail for supporting social justice, for fighting for social justice, for supporting organizations like the Black Panthers. Now I'm going to tell you about the Black Panthers, in my opinion, was the greatest organization ever formed in this country. Okay? Because the Black Panthers understood the connection between the community and the labor movement. Okay? Because the way to make change, and it's very simple. In my ILWU Local 10 brothers and sisters, this is all we've been talking about in the hall. The way to make change is to hit them where? Hit them where? And you don't do that just when you're trying to gain conditions on the job or you're trying to get higher wages. You do that when you're trying to change policy. Okay? You do that when you're trying to change politics. When you're trying to elect people to represent you. You use your labor as power. This is why Mumia is connected with the ILWU Local 10. And if you look back in history, Local 10 has a rich history of a relationship with the Black Panthers. We have former members of our local that were members of the Black Panthers. You look at our structure, it's set up similar to the Black Panthers. Okay, we have 10 guiding principles, just like the Black Panthers. And the Black Panthers became powerful all over this country. You know why? Because those brothers and sisters followed those 10 guiding principles. They followed them. They stuck together, and I'm going to tell you, they almost won. They almost won. Only thing we have to do is continue on with what they were doing. Regardless of what organization you're a member of, regardless of what you are fighting for, remember, social justice in a capitalist system is war. And when I say war, I'm talking about war like Malcolm X talked about war, when he talked about the ballot or the bullet. What you think he was talking about? The ballot is war also, but it's a war without killing and maiming. So Malcolm X was telling this country, you have a sin that you have to be forgiven for. And you can turn this country around and do the right thing if you choose the ballot over the bullet. And that's what we're telling them right now. You free Mumia. You free Mumia. You owe it to every political prisoner that you killed. You owe it to every political prisoner that you jailed. You owe it to every black family that lost a child because of a police murder. You owe it to every person that put forth the effort to move this struggle forward. You owe it to generations of people. And we will not stop until we have won this battle. Power to the people and power to the ILWU.
Start chanting, an injury to one is an injury to all. We say power to the people because it's not just the people that are employed, it's the people that want a job or just want to survive. Power to the people, but comrade, you spoiled my surprise. I wasn't going to announce Chairman Fred. Yeah, it was my secret weapon out there. But before we get to Chairman, we want to bring up the president of the Dr. Huey P. Newton Foundation, the widow of Dr. Huey P. Newton, and my aunt, none other than Miss Frederica Newton.
My name is Frederica Newton, and my husband was a Dr. Huey P. Newton. He was the co-founder of the Black Panther Party, and Mumia was a proud member of that party. My husband was incensed. He was also pained by how this country turned him into yet another political prisoner. Many things pained Huey, and this pained him deeply. When Huey said that we continue to say all power to the people, we are stating a goal for black people. We are saying that all power comes from the people, and all power must be vested by the people. It's a call for self-determination and a call for preservation. The Black Panther Party 10-point platform number 9 says we want freedom from all black and poor oppressed people now held in U.S. federal, state, county, city, and military prisons and jails. We want trials by a jury of peers for all persons charged with so-called crimes under the laws of this country. Mumia's freedom is a symbol of this great call. He deserves freedom. Mumia deserves freedom. He deserves freedom today, and that's why we're out here today. I stand for and honor this revolution we are waging here today, and the shutting of ports from South Africa to San Francisco. The Dr. Huey P. Newton Foundation will continue its work to tell the accurate history of the Black Panther Party and upholding the legacy through activism today, which includes demanding that the U.S. government free all political prisoners. Free them all. All power to the people.
Power to the people. About 4:30 this morning, I hear the phone ring. You know, those dangerous calls. Rolled over, my wife asleep, grabbed the phone. This is a call from Pennsylvania State Penitentiary. Hello. Mumia has reached out here. Hello. Mumia told me directly. He said, thank you for your hard work and dedication. Thank you, ILWU. Thank you, everyone that hasn't given up on me and continued to fight to free me. This is an innocent man that called me from across the country to express this. So we want to say free Mumia and free them all like he would say. Because once he comes out, he won't want to be mentioned by himself. Brother Eddie Conway stomped down Black Panther from the beginning of time, did roughly 45, 46 years only in prison. Passed this week. We have to pay homage to him. Brother Geronimo Pratt, I don't know how many years he did. He was freed and he passed away on African soil. So and they just mentioned a small few. But now we want to bring up Brother Comrade, political prisoner Mumia Abu-Jamal's grandson, who I swear it might be him walking around. I don't know. Let's bring him up here, Brother Comrade Jamal.
This is beautiful. Seeing the people gathered together is so beautiful. I'm remiss to start any speech without letting y'all know that my grandfather is grieving at the moment. His wife of 43 years just passed away 2 days after Christmas. So, in honor of her standing tall for so long, because remember, he's been incarcerated for around 43 years. She stood tall his entire incarceration. You know what that feels like? To have somebody that you love being held away from you unjustly by the state. I don't know what that feels like, but Wadia did. So let's give a moment of silence and love in the air for Wadia Jamal. Much love. Thank you all. I'm pretty sure I can guarantee you my grandfather really appreciates you all for remembering his wife. A lot of people around the world remembers the name Mumia, but they don't think about the woman who stood him up for 43 years. You know, because behind every great man is that's real shit. Amen. Real shit.
Next to every great man.
Hell yeah. It's the people. All right. As we march down to the final 30 days of this judge's, Lucretia Clemens is her name, decision to do her duty and free my grandfather, the law requires Mumia to be free. If she's brave, she uphold the law. If she's not, as we always suspect these people not to be brave, then she will side with the oppressors. We can't have that. I said we can't have that. That's why we are marching and we are organizing around the world to let this judge know that the people will not stand for my grandfather's continued incarceration. We can't stand for that. We have to understand that a lot of these imprisoned people, I don't say prisoner, right? Because you're not a prisoner, you're in prison, right? My ancestors weren't slaves, they were enslaved, right? A lot of these imprisoned people are in prison because they're proletariats, right? They're not rich, they're not a part of the bourgeoisie class. Mumia speaks out for us, and he spoke for 43 years, been speaking. He's not shutting up because he loves y'all. He loves us. We need to understand. And I don't want to downplay the amazing actions that are taking part today. We need to understand that across the world, the people are rising up. The people are rising up. We will take no more police murders, no more unlawful convictions. Mumia needs to be free, just like Tyre Nichols needs to be alive. When we launched Love Not Fear, we intended for unity, right? The unity of love to unify Mumia's worldwide support. I need y'all to march with us. I need y'all to fight with us. I need y'all to be with us. For real. Because only together do we win. Right? It doesn't happen. It's not one person. It's not I did this. Look what I did for 40 years. Look what I did for 20 years. It's look what we did. Right? It's us. Only the people can influence the changes needed. Only the people. It's no politician. We know politicians are usually cowards. Right? They only move when the people start moving them. There's no celebrity. Because celebrities are usually interested in maintaining their celebrities. Only the people will move these celebrities. We will free my grandfather. The only path to freedom is the people moving with integrity. We have integrity. They don't have integrity. We have the most powerful force in the universe guiding us. Love. That transcends time. That transcends perception. Love is the only thing that guides us. The love of freeing Mumia, the love of discovering and finding justice in a world that had no intention for the proletariats to find justice. I said, fuck that. You hear me? Free Mumia. Free Mumia. Free them all. Brick by brick, wall by wall. We're gonna free Mumia Abu-Jamal. Only together do we win. All right? I love you all.
You can't even follow that. Only person that can follow that is Mumia himself that sent a message out here.
Dear Union brothers, sisters, and friends, the last time your union did something like this, I was on death row with a date to die. Today, I am on life row, away from death row to be sure. But life in Pennsylvania is forever. Activists and abolitionists in Pennsylvania call it DBI, for death by incarceration. I call it slow death row. Pennsylvania used to have the highest number of life sentenced juveniles, or DBI, of any other jurisdiction on planet Earth. A recent decision by the U.S. Supreme Court made such sentences unconstitutional for a while, and several hundreds of people subsequently were released from prison. I thank you for your magnificent support. It's time to abolish death row, slow death row, and yes, ultimately, prison itself. Thank you to the ILWU. With love, not fear. This is your brother, Mumia Abu-Jamal.
And he told me thank you. And I'm going to tell you what I told him in the words of the late, great Huey P. Newton. He said, you don't thank yourself when you do for yourself. And he is here in spirit and in body. So free Mumia, free Mumia, free Mumia. We have the family of Comrade Tyre Nichols here.
Grieve, and it's hard to grieve in public and stuff, you know. First and foremost, can I get a justice for Tyre? Can I get a justice for Tyre? Real quick, I was just sitting here listening. I was going through some things on Facebook just to kind of put something together real quick, you know, on behalf of my brother and on behalf of my family. My brother sent me a message probably about, I don't know, almost 9-10 months ago. And he say, hey bro, just checking in with you. I'm in Memphis, I got me a job, you know, about to buy me an Audi. I'm about to stack up my paper, you know, and I love that, you know, because my brother, he left California to change his life. You know, and not even say that his life was messed up or anything like that. My brother was never in the streets, nothing like that. You know, he just needed to change like some people do. And Memphis Police Department took that from him. You know, my brother was 29 years old. He still was trying to understand his life. You know, and I don't wish death on anybody, you know, but with these cops I do. And reason why is because I finally broke down and watched the video a few days ago. Them motherfuckers jumped my brother like they was in a gang. Yeah. They was turned up like they was in a gang.
They are a gang.
You know, they bounced out on my brother and was beating him and taking pictures like they was doing it for the gram. Yeah. You know, and for someone that's supposed to protect and serve, if you go out that way and do something like that, honestly, you deserve to rot in hell. That's just how I feel. On my way here from Sacramento with my sisters, my brother, I spoke and I was like, you know what? I need to do something for Ty. In the words of, I just want to go home. That's the only thing my brother wanted to do was get home. You know, straight up. Like, Desmond Mills, one of the officers that decided that he wanted to do his thing to my brother. The hype that I seen in his eyes, the glory, I think he felt like he was God for a second, you know. Yeah, he ain't shit, to be honest, you know, but just to see someone like that, so hyped and so happy to inflict pain on someone that didn't deserve something like that, it's just beyond me. It's beyond you guys, you know. And at the end of the day, I'll never forget that name. But I just want to say, for my family and everybody, just thank you guys. Thank you guys for being here. We turned the corner right here. The first thing my sister seen was my brother's name. You know, and just help us keep his name alive. You know, because I know y'all don't know my brother, but if it happens to you guys, he'll be right here. He'll be right here fighting for anybody because he lived on love, good energy. He was never the type of person to take. It was always giving. And one thing that he gave for sure was himself. He never stirred away from anybody. He was the type of person, if you came to him, hey, he might not have $1 to give you, you know, might not be able to say, come stay at my house, but let's talk about it. What's going on? You know, and he will give himself to someone. And at the end of the day, my family, we gonna miss him. We love him. And again, we appreciate you guys.
Tyre!
Tyre!
Right on.
I'm gonna keep it real short and simple. Tyre was my little brother, and like my brother said, we have been grieving in the public eye, and never did we ever imagine that something like this would happen to him. And I'll just share some words that my mother said, just this how her heart is. She's like, I feel sorry for their family. I'm like, what? How you feel sorry for their family? Because they are a disgrace to their own people. They're a disgrace to their mothers, their fathers, their kids. Because how could another black man do something like that to another black man? And so today we stand here and we thank all of you. And like my brother said, can I just get a justice for Tyre?
Justice for Tyre! My name is Latoya. Tyre was my baby godbrother. We grew up like siblings. Like you can't tell anyone up here that we're not brother and sister. So we trying to focus on the positive. That's what's keeping me going. The love, the support, the outpour of positive energy. And like my brother said, we focus on the I just want to go home. That changed my spirit, because now I'm focused on every black man and brown and minorities getting home safely. I know it shouldn't take something like this to want, to see that change, but when it's something like this happens, all you can do is, try to focus on the positive and push your energy towards doing something that's going to change something for the next person. So I'm dedicating myself to making sure I can do what I can do. If it's the duty to intervene law, if it's making sure that police are taking accountability for their actions through qualified immunity, whatever it is, I'm going to show up and I'm going to be there. Yeah. Because I'm going to put my best foot forward to make sure that everybody gets home safely. Because no one should die from a traffic stop.
Justice for Tyre!
Justice for Tyre!
Justice for Tyre! Justice for Tyre!
Stay strong. Y'all stay strong. No more. You heard it from the horse's mouth itself. The victim is here in spirit. And I want to say to you, sisters and brothers, home is where the heart is. I learned that from my daughter. She said they went through a homeless training, and they started calling people houseless, because home is where your heart is. So Tyre is home with you, and you're going to keep him alive as long as you stand. His legacy will be walking, because home is within you. So we here because home for Tyre is in us also. Before we get to the next speaker, I want to make sure that all of the unions out here are acknowledged. And shout out to Ron Tiss and Ben Crump and Kareem Ali, who are, Ron Tiss is a friend, and Kareem Ali and Ben Crump is the political warrior that's going to war for the Tyre family. And let's give them all of the support. A lot of people say, what can we do? Well, what we can do is what we're doing right now. We're not going to work. We're letting it be known that we don't accept this. Next time a police person is hired, you think about this, because we're going to throw the book at them at the minimum. We want more police officers, I don't even call them officers, but more police people that represent people that have compassion and people that are out here. That's who we want, protect and serve. Yeah. The unions that are out here that I know of, and I know it's more, but really quickly, we have the PFT, Peralta Federation of Teachers. Love Not Fear. We have Local 10, of course. United Educators of San Francisco. We have the PSL, Party for Socialism and Liberation. Bay Area WWP, Bay Area Workers. Peace and Freedom, APTP. Anti-Police Terror Project, woo! Code Pink. Palestine Youth Movement. Oakland Education Teachers. UFCLP. SLAP. Against privatization, get on that. Because they taking us. They moving us out the way. They're making us expendable. Yeah. San Francisco Black Leadership Forum. If I missed you, please let me know. We got the Black and Brown Social Club. Mothers on the March Against Police Terror. Black Workers Unite. San Francisco Black Employees Association. Without CWA. Yes. Yes. We represent ourselves out here. Next on the microphone, we have another fallen soldiers. So we're going to take it from Pennsylvania to Memphis to Antioch, California, where the comrade was beaten, or was murdered rather, same outcome, by the Antioch police in 2020. This is the family of Angelo Quinto. We have Bella, Cassandra, Robert, and Robert Collins.
When I learned about the decades of systemic abuse and discrimination that Mumia faced, I was shocked, of course. And I don't think the me 3 years ago could have imagined something so complex and disgusting in this country. Not to the extent that we see it, but when here was just a thought that came to mind when I heard about it. He was sentenced to slow death row, and in Contra Costa County, just east, a historic conviction of a police officer who killed somebody, Latimer Arboleta, during a mental health crisis. He got 6 years, but that was because he endangered other officers' lives. That's ridiculous. And this is the same officer who killed somebody again 2 years later, Tyrell Wilson, another young man in a mental health crisis. That's our county. There was also my brother, Angelo Quinto. His last words were, "Please don't kill me," because his two worst fears were death and the police. But I called the police when he was having a mental health crisis. And they came to our house and they asphyxiated him to death in front of my mom on her bedroom floor. And they're completely fine. We never imagined that we would get this sneak peek behind the curtains of this world, and I'm sorry, I don't usually get this emotional, but it just keeps happening. It doesn't stop. But we will do everything that we can for the rest of our lives that we're so fortunate to have, to keep fighting for them and fighting for a better, safer place for us to go home, for us to breathe. Sorry, here.
Oh, thank you. It's okay. It's it's really emotional when you hear another family having to go through the same thing. You hope that your activism will help bring about a change so that somebody else doesn't have to go through it. And then you see other people having to go through it over and over. It's ridiculous. And you get emotional because you thought maybe you tell your story, that would change it. So we've certainly been through the whole cover-up of Contra Costa County, beginning with the police department, followed by the Contra Costa County Sheriff Coroner. We tried to separate those offices. They're the one office, so the sheriff is deciding what the sheriff and the coroner are one. So of course they come up with all these stories that don't make any sense, not even based on science. Part of the cover-up. And then we finally get to the DA, and the DA is in on it too because she wants to advance. She made up stories. So an injury to one is an injury to all of us. That is the premise of a basic democracy. If we allow somebody else to be injured and we do nothing about it, then we don't have a democracy. We don't have human rights. And yes, we're speaking here in the United States of America, and we're saying Mumia Abu-Jamal, Oscar Grant, Tyre. Yeah, the names are just, the list keeps on growing, and you think enough is enough, but it keeps on growing every time. So what we're asking for is revolutionary. It was when it was originally proposed. And it's about adherence to the laws that are on the books. It's about democracy. That was a revolutionary concept at some point, and somehow we forgot about it in this country. And we have to fight to renew that, because somehow it hasn't been applied. The laws are there, they're not following it. The juries are there, but they're stacking them. You know, and yeah, somebody said there cannot be a democracy where we have political prisoners. There cannot be a democracy where people are deprived of their life, and the system that judges whether that was right or wrong is completely corrupted and biased. So thank you for being here, though, because an injury to one is an injury to all. Yeah. And this union has shown that they will fight for everyone else, and that's the key. That's where we stop this.
Across the land, this is global.
Today, as tomorrow start, from the 16th to the 16th of March, as the National Union of Metal Workers of South Africa, we're launching our international solidarity campaign in full support of the release of Mumia, who has been a political prisoner, a leader and a soldier of freedom and love of all people of the world, who has been wrongly kept in jail. And we're calling on the judges in the United States of America that in his appeal this time around, he should be released and be set free. There's absolutely no basis for him to be kept in prison. This is a campaign that we have waged over many, many years, separated by rivers and forests, with the people of the United States, who have taken a very solid line in saying Mumia must be released. This campaign will be a rolling campaign that we will embark upon towards the 16th, because we of the view that the judges should not do anything else except to set him free. And this is a demand to say he's a political prisoner who has been a victim of wrongful arrest. He must be released. Justice must be done, and we will not rest beyond the 16th to embark on an international campaign. And our message to the judges: do the noble thing. Make sure that justice prevail. Release Mumia. He deserves his freedom.
We fighting against it out here today. Now we had the victims. Now we got a tool and a warrior coming up here. Richard Tan, who's an attorney and a representative. Labor Action Committee. He about that action.
When Brother Clarence Thomas was speaking earlier, he said this has been going on a long time. Mumia has been in prison for more than 40 years. The reason he was there was because when he was a journalist in Philadelphia, he reported on police brutality and was targeted by the mayor for the reporting that he was doing. That's why he was framed up by the police and has been in prison for so long. And I thank the family of Tyre Nichols for their words. And when they were speaking, I was thinking, that is the flip side of what Mumia was fighting against and continues to fight against all these years from prison. I thank all of you for being out here today. I have one more thing to mention. This banner here, we've been talking about the judge and the decision that she needs to make. But the banner also says, D.A. Krasner dropped the charges. The district attorney in Philadelphia, Larry Krasner, has been opposing Mumia's case the whole time he's been the district attorney. He says he thinks Mumia is guilty. That is a Democratic district attorney that says they are progressive.
Get him out of there.
We need a free Mumia. The only way we're going to do that is by fighting even the progressive district attorneys. Free Mumia. Thank you.
We in San Francisco here at Bridges Plaza, y'all. We got the Vice President.
David mentioned, my name is Natalie Hreezy. I'm the Vice President of Substitutes with United Educators of San Francisco. United Educators of San Francisco represents 6,500 workers in education. We are teachers, we are social workers, we are nurses, we are paraeducators, we are security guards. We are the people who make sure that kids get their education and their well-being is taken care of every single day. And we stand today with Mumia Abu-Jamal. We say today that Mumia Abu-Jamal should be free. We should not be reviewing boxes of evidence. We know that he should be free. And we sent a letter saying just that to Judge Clemens. We also urged educators across this city today to speak about the issue of Mumia Abu-Jamal, about political prisoners, and also about police violence in poor Black and brown communities. And teachers know Educators know that it is our responsibility to reflect the realities that we live as working people in this society and that our students and families live. But it hasn't always been like that. And the reason we have things like ethnic studies, or black studies as an AP prep, or courses on restorative justice and social justice, the reason I can teach my kids about the Black Panther Party, the reason I can teach them about the Brown Berets and Harry Bridges and the achievements of the labor movement is just because of those struggles. Until oppressed people stood up and said, teach us our own history, it was not in the schools. And that is why it's so important, we feel, as educators, to be here today with ILWU. We can't stop the ports, we don't have that power, but we can stand with you when you do. We can stand with you when you stop production, and we can stand with you in our classrooms, and we can also leave our classrooms and stand with you, with our students and our families, because we understand that the only thing that is going to free Mumia Abu-Jamal or stop the insane brutality that murdered Tyre Nichols, that murdered Anthony Lowe, that murdered our brother Quito, that murdered Breonna Taylor in her home. The only way we're going to stop them is together, is with every union standing together, with every community ally and every person together to say, no, you cannot do this to us anymore. And we're approaching a moment right now where the forces that make that happen are on the offense. They're attacking democratic rights in the Supreme Court. They're threatening the right to vote and the right to strike. And we don't have that right everywhere, but where we have it, it is in danger at this moment. And it is the same people who give the orientations to the police who murder our brothers and sisters across the country. It is the same people who sit in the Supreme Court who are making those decisions, but they don't represent us. They don't represent the majority of this country, and they know it. And that's why they're on the attack, and that's why what's happening today is so important. Because the only way that the majority of people who care about Tyre Nichols, who care about Mumia Abu-Jamal, who want to see justice, is when we fight together. The educators are with you, and we will continue to be with you. Thank you.
Up until this moment, I was kind of upset that my daughter was in school in San Francisco. I'm happy about that now. And to quote the late, great Dr. King, who was also murdered in Memphis, an injustice anywhere is an injustice everywhere. Let's keep that in mind. Next, we're going to bring out Nadia from the Young Women's Palestinian Movement. We global, y'all.
Free Mumia! Free Mumia! Free Mumia! My name is Nadia Tounous. I'm part of the Palestinian Youth Movement. Assalamu alaikum. I'm here today with you. It's an honor to be here. I'm born and raised in the Bay Area. I went to high school with Angelo Quinto, actually. And my family has been here since 1970. We came as refugees from Palestine and opened up a deli in the Excelsior in the Mission. And we used that as a community hub for many, many years. For those of you who don't know the history of Palestinian struggle in San Francisco, it's an interesting one. We used to run newspapers from Tunisia, document them, and then pass them around to every single mahalat, every single store. Okay? That's the history that we come from. And we're here to say and to reaffirm that we are part of the fabric of people here, poor, working, migrant, refugee, black, and indigenous, who are fighting back against the capitalist state and who are uplifting that this place has always been colonial and the carceral system is colonial in nature. I'm here to uplift on behalf of my people the innocence of Mumia, of Elder Mumia Abu-Jamal, and calling attention to the criminality and the guilt of the state, which has kept him in prison for 4 decades. I want to let you know, I'm sorry, this mask is bothering me. I want to let you know that we asked our people in prison in Palestine to write a statement to read to you today. And they did. For those of you who are not familiar, I'm sure many of you are, there are over 5,000 Palestinians who are currently in Zionist prisons. Many of them are serving multiple life sentences for resisting. And we have over 600 Palestinians who are under administrative detention, which means that they never get the right to a trial, to a jury, to a judge, and they don't even get to see the evidence that is keeping them inside. Okay? And these are the systems that are pretty similar. We know them, right? Because Israel is America's little brother. And so this stuff didn't come from nowhere. Right now there is going to be a massive prison strike in Palestine because they're cutting off our food. We know that as Palestinians, our leaders are inside. And so as I'm taught from my own struggle, Mumia is a leader to me. And that means that not only should he be free, he should be here leading us. He should be here strategizing with us. We should be following him and the rest of our elders who are in prison to help us get free. As has been said before, Mumia is not in prison because he shot a cop. Mumia is in prison because he's a revolutionary thinker who pushed back against the system that continues to oppress him. And so when we talk about freedom, I know what freedom means for me as a Palestinian. I know what that means. It means standing in line and joining the line with you, my black brothers and sisters. It means that we join in line with the poor and working class because we are part of it. And it means that when we push back against Zionism. Zionism as the U.S. imperialism. And so I'm going to read you a statement. It's important to me. This came from our people. It's from the Palestinian prisoner movement. They passed notes around and they all added to this. We got it out and we were able to also translate it for you today. And I want to let you know there are 2 letters that were also written by some of our leaders in prison, and they would like them delivered directly to Elder Mumia. To the free one who is restricted by the American chains of time, Brother Mumia Abu-Jamal, even if they threw you in the darkness alone between your walls, flowers will bloom from within you and your face will kindle the light. O partner, bound by the American Zionist imperialist shackles, we will share with you the times and the chains, and most importantly, we will share with you victory and freedom, inshallah. It is inevitable that this light of freedom and victory will erase the darkness and oppression of America and of Zionism. You have remained steadfast for more than half a century in the face of bias, bigotry, and prejudice, and we will experience with you the moment of our collective desired freedom when you are free. Until then, you and only you will remain the man in which we find protection through his strength and his conviction in facing the shameless imperialist season. The season of treachery and tyranny. May you be free, and may you be for us a luminous light with your inspiring experience, as you have always illuminated the darkness of our own captivity. Finally, this letter written with urgency will follow with correspondence. Glory has no destiny but to kneel for you, and there is no better destiny for this glory than for you to be a grand image of freedom. From your imprisoned comrades in the Zionist prison on behalf of the Palestinian prisoner movement, February 2023. We know that Mumia fought for black power. He fought for dignity and he fought for freedom and liberation for poor and working people. We know that Mumia is an internationalist. We know that he speaks from behind bars, and we know that we will never forget him. We will take up the responsibility as Palestinians here to reach out and to rekindle relationship with you. We hope that the next time that there is a march, when we celebrate Mumia's freedom, there will be more of us here, inshallah. Power to the people. Free Palestine. Free Mumia Abu-Jamal. And free them all. Power to the people.
So next, we're gonna bring my own personal bodyguard out here. Miss Sister Comrade Christina Gutierrez, who is the head of the Black and Brown Social Club.
Brothers and sisters, As we gather here today, fighting for the freedom of political prisoner Mumia Abu-Jamal, this nation is preparing to unleash a third world war. It's spending trillions of dollars on wars of aggression, meanwhile refusing to home the homeless. Sending billions of dollars to the so-called Zionist state of Israel to continue the genocide of the Palestinian people, the occupation of Palestine, the crimes against humanity, but he said that he has no money to give sick leave, pay sick leave to the railroad workers. It is also responsible for the coup d'etat in Peru that is going on right now, where hundreds of people are being murdered without tax money. But this nation refuses to provide total free education from kindergarten to university levels. You will ask me, what this has to do with Mumia? Everything, brothers and sisters, because Mumia is in jail not because supposedly he killed a police officer. He is in jail because of his political beliefs. Let us be clear, Mumia is innocent. He was framed after an attempt to murder him failed. The Philadelphia Police Department, the whole of the police force, under the mandate of the rich and powerful, needed it to disappear him because he was exposing the corruption of the government and its institution, the police department. Mumia is a revolutionary journalist, a revolutionary that wanted to change this capitalist world. He's a socialist at heart. This is why he is in jail, why he was on that road for decades until we, the power of the people, got him out of there. This is why they don't want to give him a new trial. Not because he's a black man, but because he's a black revolutionary. Think, brothers and sisters, the majority of the people on this nation don't know that today in the United States we have political prisoners. Mumia is one of them. Many comrades of the Black Panther Party and the movement, the Native American indigenous movement, the Puerto Rican liberation movement has spent 30, 40 plus years in jail for daring to fight for justice, peace and equality, for denouncing the evils of capitalism, for talking about socialism. The fight to free Mumia is a fight against capitalism and imperialism and Zionism. Racism is real, we know. But in the final analysis, it is a tool that the ruling class uses to divide the workers, so we keep looking at each other as enemies. The fact that this city has a mayor, a district attorney, and a chief of police that are black and have done nothing in the interest of black working class and poor vulnerable black people in this city should tell us something. The fact that we have a black president that for 8 years consecutively bombarded Africa should tell us something. Let us be clear that every time the police murder a black man or woman is a political statement to divide the working people with this racist ideology. Brothers and sisters, Mumia gave his freedom for our freedom. From jail, he kept denouncing capitalism, imperialism, Zionism. Let us fight for his freedom. Rescue his teaching, his courage, his love for humanity, and begin to organize his freedom together with our freedom, to start believing in capitalism and this system that has destroyed humanity. Let us unite, organize, rise up, and overcome racism, white supremacy, Nazi ideology, and let us get rid of capitalism and be a socialism once and for all. Free Mumia! Free Mumia! Free Mumia! Free Mumia! Free Mumia! Free Mumia! Free Mumia!
Free Mumia! Free Mumia! Justice for Tyre!
Justice for Tyre!
Justice for Angelo!
Justice for Angelo!
A real silent soldier is out in the audience and help orchestrate this whole movement. I mean, I'm talking about an anchor. That's why I called my bodyguard up first, because I don't want no problem with this dude. Steve Zeltzer, the one and only.
All right, Steve.
Thank you, brothers and sisters. Thank you. And, you know, I think that this is an historic rally today because it's bringing together workers all over
not just in San Francisco, but all over the world. In Durban today, there was a rally.
Hi, comrades. My name is Joseph Vela Dube. I'm the General Secretary of Retusa Revolutionary Transport Union of South Africa. Today, we are here at 303 West Street. We are demonstrating, and we are next to the U.S. consulate. We are saying they have to free Abu-Jamal, who's been arrested for 41 years. We've got our comrades here with us. We've managed, to have comrades and the demonstration next to the U.S. consulate. The demonstration went very well, and we really appreciate, and we know that there are other demonstrations taking part actually in Japan, in Johannesburg, and also in USA. So, comrades, I think let us continue with this struggle. It's very much important for Abu-Jamal. It's very much important for the workers in South Africa and elsewhere in the world. Let us work in solidarity to each other. It's very important to us, comrades. Dave was with us here, and we have done a very wonderful job. And we hope also you have done a wonderful job, comrade. We support you. We support you all in every country in terms of the struggle of workers. I thank you.
Of the Durban dock workers in solidarity with Mumia. And one of the reasons that happened is there was a delegation by the ILWU to Durban to unite with the workers of South Africa and to say that this is one struggle. It's not just in the United States, it's not just in San Francisco, it's internationally. Now, I'm a member of the CWA Pacific Media Workers Guild. Mumia was a journalist in Philadelphia. He was a union journalist. And he was exposing the corruption and the murders of the Philadelphia police. And that's one of the reasons they put him away. He was on public radio in Philadelphia. So as a journalist, all journalists should be supporting Mumia. And I'm planning with others, Lisa Milos, who is here, to take a resolution to the CWA convention, which is happening in July, to demand our union support Mumia. Free Mumia Abu-Jamal now. And we have to say also that there's a struggle in our unions. To this afternoon, there's going to be another rally at City Hall, called by the leadership of the Labor Council and other labor councils. But you know something? They did not invite the ILWU, which is a black-led local in San Francisco. Why is that? Why is that? They're afraid of the ILWU because the ILWU puts its body where its mouth is. It takes action. And that's really what we need in this country. The murders, the serial murders, racist murders that are going on every day in this country cannot be stopped with words. They cannot be stopped with protest. They have to be stopped by workers' action in this country. We need a mass workers' strike to shut this country down. Workers have the power, but we have obstacles in front of us because, unfortunately, we have business unions in this country. We have unions that want to cut a deal with the boss and they want to sell out their workers, their members. We have to oppose that. We need militant class struggle unions, and we need a working class party. Because as has been said before, the Democrats in San Francisco are giving more money to the police in San Francisco. $25 million more to the police. Do we need more money to the police? No. We need money for housing. We need money for education. That's what we need money for. That means a political struggle. So we have to go, and I will go. We have to go back into the unions. We have to continue the fight for Mumia and all political prisoners. We have to continue for worker action. The ILWU action today is important for all workers in this country. We have to take that up nationally and internationally. That is the kind of action that will bring his freedom. So free Mumia Abu-Jamal, stop union busting, stop the racist attacks, labor action now. Thank you, brothers and sisters.
We have the Teamsters out here, and we got Local 3 in the building. Almost without further ado, we got coming from the coldest land on the planet, Chicago. Chicago's finest out here. We're gonna bring my comrade Tarika to give you some poetry just to warm you up for the cold city. And Chairman, without further ado, will be here.
While we are going through it today, it has been a time for us to come together right now and connect to heaven and earth Now we got the socially aware piece together. We know what we're supposed to do there. But the heaven and earth, we're on a planet right now that's suffering as we're suffering. So we have to use both the physical, the spiritual, the psychological, and emotional right now. Because that's what the Panthers did. That's what Mumia does. That's what we have to be aware of right now. Right now. So I'm going to do this little piece because Spirit said, yeah, we gotta make them aware. My people turned away from worshiping their source of miracle and magic done. My people turned away from worshiping earth, water, wind, stars, and sun so they could worship someone. Now so many are lost, deceived and made to believe guilt from another culture, a vulture polluting our well-beings with sights of non-realistic dreams. Now too many cry because too many die by sacrificial death, worshiping lies. Try to turn us from the sun and memories of water, fire, light, wisdom. Drums, sacred hums, trees holding seeds with enchantments and glories, telling stories, evoking magic, sacred names, bringing thunder, lightning, and rain. Lord of my law, my gods, my people turn from senses. Engraved by life's light, where body is first scripture and earth by heaven held the scripts to the laws of life. From water spirit smells and spells with atmospheric wells of genetic keys, from wind's oracle messages through soft breezes, from mother tongue sacred words connecting third eyes, from bird seasonal flight messages in skies and the naming of our children for the presence in their lives, from earth where gardens had worth and birth was not an ongoing pain, where raising the young was not a fearful gain, where life wasn't frequently visited by the insane and maimed for and by a chemically synthesized, drug-infested disease, murderous reign. Yes, my people are troubled. Yet they secretly know the poisonous snake they fight each day as ancestral spirits whisper. Whisper miracles and magic done with earth, water, winds, stars, and sun, where darkened sins sung fire, light, wisdom as dark simmering coals, housing souls in spiral rows of rainbowed lights, seers of scripted sights. Yes, my people are troubled by what might have been, could have been, before we allowed them to turn us away from worshiping earth, water, winds, stars, and sun so we could worship someone on a cross. But this too shall pass. My grandfather was a longshoreman. I was an investigative news reporter for California Voice. There are things that we witness. I was also part of the Black Panther clinic, where we took care of folks better than Kaiser dared. We took care of those who wouldn't take care of us. And when we tried to take care of ourselves, we became a threat. We had leaders among us that would speak, and when they did, we listened. Powerful, heartfelt. This brother, Fred Hampton, Mumia, brother journalist, brother Fred Hampton, your father, my God, what he said and what he gave as a legacy to us, we will live with into I don't know when. It's gonna be, so you came to be. Thank you. Please come forward, Brother Fred Hampton Jr.
Look at here.
Then they said, we got this revolutionary ritual I need y'all to ride with us on, y'all. We say, heads up, eyes open, and fist clench, y'all. Heads up, eyes open, and fist clench. Heads up, eyes open, and fist clench, y'all. Right on, right on, right on. Power to the people.
Power to the people.
Free them all.
Free them all.
Look here to that. ILWU Local 10, to all the respective unions out here, to CRC, APTP, Nuke, man, phenomenal, man, my brother. Clarence Thomas, who I just seen not too long ago. We got something in common, man. I consider Ryan Coogler a nephew of mine too, man, and I love you, brother, respect you, brother. We got some phenomenal, man. In fact, clinch fist to the most important, in fact, Minister UEP News said the most important ingredient in the revolution is what? The people.
Yes, sir.
So clinch fist to the people, right? Power to the people.
Power to the people.
I'm Chairman Fred Hampton Jr., I'm International Chairman of the Black Panther Party Cubs. One of our mantras is that we are the great-grandchildren of Garvey, offspring of Malcolm, and the Cubs of Panthers. We say it's a tough act to follow, but we attempt to not walk in the footsteps, but the Panther Paul steps of the Black Panther Party.
Sir.
You know how you talk about sometimes you say, man, like a relationship, you say, man, the right person, the right music, the right ambiance, all that. Let's correlate that to this political climate where we at today. We in the historical Bay Area, historical stomping ground. You got the grandson of Mumia Abu-Jamal. You had the widow of Minister Dr. UEP Newton up here. You got the family of Tyre Nichols here. You got son of Melvin Newton, nephew of Minister Dr. UEP Newton. You got so many forces out here, y'all.
Yes, sir.
We say, as the old axiom goes, an opportunity knock, snatch the door off the motherfucking hinges, y'all.
Yes,
right on?
Right on.
It's embarrassing being oppressed, y'all. It's embarrassing being oppressed. Now, let's say it a number of times. But it's a certain amount of dignity in fighting back.
Yes, sir.
And I think it's the Alcoholics Anonymous that say one of the mantras we're dealing with the problem is first step in addressing the problem, recognizing we have a problem.
Yes, sir.
And a lot of times we keep on trying to push things to the side, and people become conscious or come to grips with certain situations one of three ways: inspiration, aspiration, or desperation. Inspiration, aspiration, or desperation. Sometimes we try to romanticize the 60s and say, yeah, back then everybody had their fist up, there was leather jackets, berets, so on and so forth. But the reality is, there was a class piece that existed under the tenure of people like President John F. Kennedy. You see the climax of the Black Power movement under the tenure of this gangster, former U.S. President Richard Milhouse Nixon. So we welcome these intense times.
Yes, sir.
And we got to be upfront with it, and we got to use brutal terms for brutal realities.
Yeah.
We got to challenge the euphemisms, y'all, because one of the disadvantages that the black community in particular has is a non-acknowledged war.
Yeah.
In other words, other places they talk about terms like propaganda bombs, political prisoners.
Yes, sir.
We have to use political terms. We say everything is political. Words, terms, fashion, you name it. Everything is political, you know what I'm saying? As opposed to police brutality, we got to call it for what it is, police terrorism.
Yes, sir.
Right on?
Right on.
Sometimes we wonder. I talked to a sister, she said she don't know why, when she seen Tyre Nichols, what happened to him. She said, Chairman, I don't know what, she said, I feel a certain way. She said, but I didn't know him. But the deal is, it should be something in you that connects.
Yes, sir.
And we got to use this term, the people's pain reflects. Right on?
Right on.
The people's pain reflects.
Yes, sir.
It should be, if it don't be a connection, we got a problem.
Yes, sir.
Because what this system does is, it pushes that individualism. And it's individuals we doom, y'all. You know what I'm saying? I'm flashing back to when I was held captive, and not the prisons, but the concentration camps. Again, I was held captive in the concentration camps. I'm a former political prisoner. And I remember in 1995, when the state had a death date set for Mumia Abu-Jamal, they told me executing him. And the warden of the particular camp I was in, they had shut the whole joint down. And they had came and got me, they said, we heard rumors that you talking about calling for a work strike throughout the prisons if Mumia Abu-Jamal is executed. And I said, that's our position. Our position was if Mumia don't move, don't nothing move.
Right on.
Right on?
Right on.
And we connected it to the outside community. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? That's important. That's imperative. You know what I'm saying? And the warden said, well, if you attempt to do that, we're going to lock the joint down. I said, well, that's 6 1/2 a dozen with me. However you want to do this, Mumia Abu-Jamal to move, ain't nothing moving.
Right on.
And I point this out that we made the connection from inside the council to the outside community. This is important, because we got to be able to distinguish a war from a revolution, y'all.
Yes, sir.
We got to be able to distinguish a war from a revolution. A war is two occupying armies where you suit up and you boot up and you get out to get out. Right. A revolution, when you gain the minds of participation of the masses of the people. Y'all with me? You hear me?
Yes, sir.
The minds and the hearts of the people. That's what the Black Panther Party is fighting for, the minds and hearts of the people.
Yes, sir.
You know what I'm saying? And recognize everything is political. You know what I'm saying? It was a climate during the Black Power movement of the 60s. You know what I'm saying? Where it wasn't just it couldn't give you no sound bite. You say, I see this person fighting, so on and so forth. The terms we use, the music. You know what I'm saying? It was a climate it was almost with a politic that transcended. I know we're talking fast, so I'm gonna slow this one down. It transcended geographical, generational, and gender lines.
Yes, sir,
y'all hear me?
Yes, sir, Chairman.
It was a politic that transcended geographical, gender, and generational lines. See, a lot of cats are dumbfounded. They're trying to say, how they gonna deal with this situation when you got Negro pigs vapping on Tyre Nichols? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. A lot of cats get confused. Okay, how we gonna deal with this? You got a female pig, so on and so forth. We relate to what Lenin said. When he said, we assess situations on how the state views you and how you view the state.
Yes, sir.
A lot of cats want to say, well, I want to deal with this. I'm a Virgo, you're a Capricorn, so and so. We assess situations how the state views you and how you view the state. That's the fight. It's been a UEP, so we're trying to fight to get to the final line of demarcation. Yes, who you with? The people of the pigs.
That's right.
Huh? They ain't hear you, man. The people, huh?
The people.
And that may sound cliche sometimes. But the reality is, you look at Latin America, the Sandinistas, who was up against the Contras, who was backed by the U.S., U.S. imperialism. The Sandinistas took the position that the will of the people is greater than man's technology.
Yes, sir.
Right on?
Right on.
See, they got to make sure that we don't understand how important, you know, say how powerful the potential. The people are pregnant with the potential of power. You know what I'm saying? See, like in India, when they train the elephant in India, if the elephant sees the trainer step on the cup or something, and that particular elephant steps on the cup, that elephant got to be transferred or killed. Why? Because if the elephant say, whoa, hold on, man, do this here. And go back with the rest of the elephants and say, man, ain't no way possible this particular trainer's supposed to be controlling all of us. Huh?
Yes, sir, Chip.
They want to make sure that, you know what I'm saying, that we get caught up. Well, that's something down in Mississippi. That's something down in Memphis. That's in Oakland, Chicago. You know what I'm saying? Well, that's the men dealing with that. That's the younger generation. You know what I'm saying? But the people. And we got, you know what I'm saying, we got to up our political muscle. We got to tighten up. You know what I'm saying? That again, we don't wait till February come around. Because we say black people on the verge of becoming history.
Yes, sir.
It has to be second nature with us. The way we view movies, the way we view discussions, you know what I'm saying? Relationships.
Yes, sir.
Huh? Music. It's got to be second nature. Political prisoners. You know what I'm saying? See, that's why Malcolm X said America's democracy is an hypocrisy. It's a facade of freedom. It's a front. That's why they fight for us to talk about turning political prisoners. I don't know how to do that political stuff or that black stuff. You know what I'm saying? We got to intertwine it.
Yeah.
With every discussion, the barbershops, the pool hall, say the climate. And we got to say the climate was uncovered. People say, well, what y'all gonna do if how the state don't move correctly and get the right response in the case of Mumia Abu-Jamal? Do not, see, we don't deal with absolutes.
Yes, sir.
The state should be in a climate of uncomfortability. Kind of like how you feel, how I feel when those flashing lights come behind us and they pull us over. You don't know what's gonna happen.
I understand.
Huh? And the police when the pigs pull you up, you can't ask them, okay, what's gonna happen to me? There ain't no telling.
Yes, sir,
they might get to fill a quota, he might have a bad day, he might feel like, you know, Tyre Nichols, he $3 from home. He know what's gonna go down with him. It should be a climate. Well, you know what I'm saying? Man, when Mumia Abu-Jamal, the cases of C numbers, Illinois, man, the Nicholas Lee's in Cook County Jail, and countless other people throughout I'm about to say this country, but throughout the world, because again, we got internationalism. I'm glad I heard people say the word over and over. Yes, and we got to understand that dynamic of internationalism. Right. We can't get caught up in this because again, see, I tell you, one of the things, I had failed fourth year English in high school because the principal kept on telling me to say me and I kept on saying us and we.
Yes, sir.
Real talk. Real talk.
Yes, sir.
He wouldn't got the English, he say, so you saying it wrong? I say, no, us, the people.
Yes,
you know what I'm saying? And I know sometimes it may sound cliche, you know what I'm saying? But again, We had to set the climate during the Black Power movement of the 60s. It was an atmosphere. It was a political climate. When Annie was up, when James Brown was forced to, James Brown had a whole different song playing there first. He wasn't talking about saying I'm black and I'm proud.
Come on now, Chad.
It was people like present day political prisoner, Imam Jamal Amin, H.Y. Brown, that drove down on him and said, man, you better go back in the studio with that garbage you talking about.
That's right.
He came back out saying I'm black and I'm proud.
That's it.
It was a climate. He couldn't afford that stuff he pulled in the Rocky movie wearing the red, white, and blue drawers on living in America.
Yes, sir, Chad.
It was a climate, goddamn, in Chicago with the street tribes. Y'all hear me? I ain't say the gangs.
Yeah.
I said the street tribes.
Yes, sir.
We had the formerly known devil disciples get up publicly and say, we now change our name to be known as the black disciple due to the political education we are receiving Chairman Frey of the Black Panther Party.
Yes, sir.
It was a climate where the vice lords, the FBI, had told the vice lords, they said, we'll give you 16th Street, the Black Panther Party can't open a free medical center on 16th Street, where Chairman Frey wanted to politicize these cats and warn them certain point of unity,
yes, sir,
but only worked at the free medical center. It was a climate of being on Black Star Range saying that we're the Black Peace Stone Nation. And even by the government's own account, I'm going to quote them, because a lot of times we don't believe nothing is a fact. Unless we say white folks said it or the government said it.
Yeah.
The government said it, goddammit. There was a record low to what they call black on black crime. Right. But to acknowledge it, Sun Tzu in the Art of War said the cardinal principle of warfare is to know thyself and know thy enemy. We wonder what's happening in our communities. You know what I'm saying? One of America's policies in Chicago, Afghanistan, Iraq, the Philippines, Vietnam, Palestine, is to create chaos, then restore order. That's their policy.
Yeah.
Create chaos, then restore order. We got to fight for structure, y'all.
Yes, sir.
We got to be clear, we got to terms like political prisoner. It got to be tied into our jargon every day.
Yes, sir.
With these youngsters, they hitting what they call it music, it ain't musical, call for this, propaganda bombs.
Yes, sir, Tim.
Feel what I'm saying? Ain't no gentrification, call it for what it is, land grab.
Yes, sir.
Feel what I'm saying? And be consistent with it.
Yes.
Be consistent with it. Everything is political, right on? This here. Case of Tyre Nichols, Mike Brown, and every other case of police terrorism. I ain't say police brutality.
Yeah.
Let's struggle with that, all right, y'all?
Yes, sir.
Police terrorism. Every day is September 11th for us, y'all.
Yes, sir, Chairman.
And it's embarrassing. It hurts, you know what I'm saying? The reality is when those flashing lights come behind us, we don't know what's going to happen. A lot of times I say, I don't even know why black folks even got no calendars in our house. We really can't say where we're going to be at tomorrow.
Come on now.
You know what I'm saying? But we got to be able to distinguish living from existence. You hear me? Distinguish reactionary from revolution. Distinguish stealing from liberating. Right on?
Yes, sir, Chairman.
The terms we use, how we relate to each other. And like I used that analogy earlier about a relationship. You say, damn, this a hell of a time. Music is good. The right person here. Look at the forces we got here today, y'all. Just
yes,
today,
sir.
right here today. Once we start clicking up, we got access to some apparatuses back in the 60s they didn't have used to. Wasn't no social media back then. Or at least we didn't have it, you know what I'm saying? The state had it, you know what I'm saying? We got to use, Minister UEP, people talk about the whole thing of technology way back then. We got to use these different forms of technology. There's not for no partying and bullshitting. We got to recognize again that ain't no war on drugs, ain't no war on guns, ain't no war on gangs. It's war on the people. Right on? And as Minister UEP News said, that we don't fight back. If we do not resist,
yes, sir.
It can be defined as nothing less than reactionary suicide.
Yes, sir.
Reactionary suicide. We refuse to commit that, y'all. Cat told me one time in Chicago, this leadership one of the street organization, street tribes. He said, man, Chairman, you crazy talking about dying for the people. I said, shit, motherfuckers dying for cars, drugs, and street. You say, I'm crazy.
Come on now.
Something wrong with me.
Come on, Chairman.
Shit. But the reality is, they can't kill the people, man.
That's right.
The beat goes on. Right on?
Right on.
December the 4th, 1969, two of our twin towers, quote unquote, fell. 21-year-old Chairman Frey and 22-year-old defense captain Mark Clark. The U.S. government assassinated, you know what I'm saying? They assassinated Chairman Frey and defense captain Mark Clark. You know what I'm saying? Now, it would be ideal if I could come out here and say, man, we come so far. The police don't do that to us no more, so on. So, but the reality is, that wasn't no aberration. That aberration, because say, though the government assassinated my father in a graphic way, they attempted to kill all our fathers and our mothers. One was either by shooting them down, locking them up, punking them out, stringing them out on drugs, one way or another.
Yes, sir, Chairman.
One way or another. We ain't got no choice but to struggle, y'all. Let's intertwine it. I know we going against all odds, man. But again, that's a revolutionary climate. We have a man. a different sort of movie producer, a different sort of union, a different sort of relationship, different sort of music.
Yes, sir.
You know what I'm saying? Would Andy be upped? And another cool thing, let us say this quote too, I believe, which takes people 20 years to learn in ordinary times. They can learn in 2 years in revolutionary times.
Yes, sir, Chairman.
Huh?
Yes, sir, Chairman.
I said it too fast.
Yes, sir, Chairman.
What takes people 20 years to learn in ordinary times.
Yeah.
You know, in 2 years of revolutionary time, people say, how was the little Bobby Hutton, 17 years old? How these cats, you know what I'm saying, 16, 17, 18 years old? You got to put in context the time, the climb. You had the draft going down, you know what I'm saying? The ending was, man, you got to, Chairman Fred, we got to move fast, got to move organized. I ain't say reactionary.
That's right.
We got to move fast, got to move organized. Don't say, well, when February is over, you know what I'm saying? Even when they make the right decision, we're going to keep that pressure about this case of Mumia Abu-Jamal and any other political prisoner, talking about your sister, your cousin, the brother down the street. We're going to tie this case in with Tyre Nichols.
Yes, sir.
When we go to poetry sets. Yes. Tie it into the poetry sets.
Yes, sir.
Up in church, the deacon say, anybody got the announcements up there? And he said, yeah, Pastor, I don't know, man, what's your
yes, sir.
what we doing about Tyre Nichols?
Right.
At the mosque, at the pool hall, at the don't let nobody tell you, we're not talking about that right now. That's everything political.
Everything.
Yeah. In Nazi Germany, they get a thing and they say if they don't tell their children about what happened in the gas chamber, they call it child abuse. I say, dig that. Right. I say, dig that. It's a crime, y'all. But we don't, you know what I'm saying, from the womb to the tomb, we gotta get motherfucking heads up. It's a war on us, man. Brothers and sisters, people in general, it's a war on us. So again, y'all, every apparatus, it ain't no neutral position in this war. You hear me? Ain't no neutral position. And at some point of unity, the cats gotta play and be willing to draw the line. Some cats gonna say they with the state, or we gonna bring it out. We're gonna draw a line of demarcation. Who you with? The people of the pigs. Right on?
Right on.
Y'all keep y'all heads up, y'all eyes up, y'all fists clench, y'all. We say us our clarion call, free them all.
Free them all.
Free them all. Revolutionary love and respect for everybody that came out here today, y'all. Let's keep this momentum going. No, man, did this here, man. Hey, man, this DNA up here, y'all, man. Love you, my brother. Love the people, y'all. Let's keep on doing what we do. Let's up there. Because also, as the UEP News said, the revolutionary is never satisfied.
That's right, Chairman.
So we say right on for the day we came out here.
Yeah. However.
Put our chests out and say, shit, let's up the motherfucking ante, y'all. Free them all.
Free them all.
A revolutionary. I am a revolutionary. We were in Durban, South Africa, no, Johannesburg, and the comrade in there, he was going on and on about this vision. I said, man, I got to quote my big uncle and my brother's father, who we have to remind everybody. I know you just maybe forget this. This brother's father was slain by the motherfucking government.
Yeah.
The police.
Yeah.
And the government assassinated this brother. With so many victims out here.
Yeah.
Buster just reminded his brother was slain by the police.
Yes.
These things have to stop. These things have to stop. I am a revolutionary. Shout out to Chairman Fred Hampton Jr. When I called Chairman Fred, I told him, he said, by the time I hung up the phone, he was here. I kid you not, straight from Chicago, direct flight through the red eye. So next we have Sister Lois, gonna give us information that we need. So you up, sister. Thank you.
I'm Lisa Milos, and I'm a member of University of Professional and Technical Employees, CWA 9119, Local 7, San Francisco. We represent 17,000 University of California workers. I'm also a delegate to the San Francisco Labor Council. I'm speaking here as an individual because there's a couple of truths that I need to tell. But first and foremost, I'd like to thank the ILWU for being one of the few remaining unions in this country that has kept to its founding principles and to its revolutionary internationalist spirit in supporting workers in South Africa, Palestine, and my country, Chile. It's even more rare occurrence among unions in this country to maintain its steadfast support for U.S. political prisoners, CWA NABET member Mumia Abu-Jamal. Like I said, I'm a delegate to the San Francisco Labor Council. We are social workers, physical therapists, occupational therapists, pharmacists, IT workers, and research workers. I wish I was here to bring you good news about the San Francisco Labor Council, but unfortunately, I'm not. Today, I'm going to speak as an individual, like I said, because there's some truths that we need to face from within our own labor movement. At last Monday's San Francisco Labor Council meeting, I presented a resolution to support today's rally for Mumia. We found out that the executive committee of the San Francisco Labor Council had decided to table the resolution because according to the officers, they couldn't take up organizing for two events for the same day, quote, in relation to the Tyre Nichols event tonight. And this is also a quote, it was all the same issue anyway. A group of delegates fought hard to try to pass a resolution to support Mumia, talking about Mumia's case, talking about the history of the San Francisco Labor Council's previous support for Mumia as well, talking about how important it was to stand strong and defend a fellow union worker as well. But we faced opposition from the leadership of the San Francisco Labor Council, from unions that normally vote for more money for police. And unfortunately, we also faced opposition from some unions who, to their credit, passed resolution in support of Mumia among their members, but didn't present those resolutions to the Labor Council and refused to support the Mumia resolution in support of this rally at that meeting. Where has playing footsie with the Democrats of California or with union bureaucracy gotten us? We're talking about standing with the same union bureaucracy who wants to privatize the Port of Oakland, who decimates black and brown communities, who supports the decimation of black and brown communities, who supports the closure of public schools, because that's what's happening in Oakland, and that also supports the Democrats that increase police budgets, and are also continuing to support the AFL-CIO interventions in popular workers' movements around the world, like they did in Chile 50 years ago. And they continue to do it now through the National Endowment for Democracy and the Solidarity Center. You see, they turned these words upside down, the word solidarity. The San Francisco Labor Council wants to do some blackwashing by pretending to fight against racism and police brutality, yet oppose the resolution to support the freedom of Mumia Abu-Jamal, a worker journalist who has been in prison for 40 years for a crime he didn't commit, who is exposing police corruption. We really need to stand together within the labor movement from all these different organizations. When we're at the San Francisco Labor Council, we need to stand together. We cannot have one thing going on here and another thing going on at the Labor Council. That's just dishonest. I also want to extend my deep appreciation to the ILWU for its support of the workers of Chile, who continue to fight to free their political prisoners, our political prisoners, even under the so-called progressive presidency of Gabriel Boric. We have to stop allowing these Democrats and these so-called progressives, except for Palestine, and progressives that support interventionist wars. We have to stop supporting that. We need to stand together in the labor movement to support Mumia Abu-Jamal, to free all political prisoners in the United States. And we won't be able to do it if we don't stand together. Thank you.
All right. Another tool coming up. Well, we got a young soldier that came out here from Manteca. And this soldier contacted me about a young girl that we posted that was beating up Jump. And she said, how can I donate? How can I help? In England. And I said, I don't have the information, but I do what I can. And this soldier, her name is Pantera, which is Panther. Come on up here.
So my primary focus is about the children, simply because I was raised in Oakland, California. My grandfather worked with the Black Panthers, the original ones, and Because of that, my father made sure it was his duty to teach me the spirit of the Panther. When you grow up in Oakland and you're constantly traumatized and brutalized by the police, I mean, being 4 years old and having assault rifles pointed in your face, watching your father be ripped from your home. I mean, being so traumatized that when you finally go see him, you lifting him off of his feet trying to carry him out of the jailhouse. Being torn and separated time and time again. What helped me get through it? It was honestly the revolution. So if you have a child, teach them the importance of the spirit of the Panther and how the revolutionary movement can heal them and guide them in the correct path. I joined the Black Riders Liberation Party in 2018, watched them diligently from 2015 all the way till then, and I had to make that, that decision to be more conscious of who I am as a person and understand what my elders were doing and how I can take that information and relay it to the next upcoming generations. My whole career path, my primary focus has been mentoring the youth, guiding Black children, also Native American children, and keeping them safe, making sure that they have clean clothes, a chance for education, especially ours that are extremely vulnerable. Like, I don't know if too many people are aware of ABA therapy, and how we can also tie that with dialectical therapy and dialectical and cognitive. So if you are or know someone who is struggling with a broken household that has children who are vulnerable with disabilities, please reach out to the Black Riders Liberation Party. I am providing free therapy services to children who are in need, for families who are in need. One of my main top goals is not only to protect our children, but to bring back the nuclear household where man is the leader and the woman is submitting to her king. And the children are being raised, and a woman knows her place and a man knows her place, and together they are the weapon. So collectively, yes, we do need each other, but our households need a solid foundation. We have to move as a family unit. Yes, we all come from different walks of life. We can all collectively, though, use our resources, use our time, love and affection to grow with each other. We all deserve shelter, clean water, clean food, medical. We deserve to not be discriminated against based off of our race, and we do not deserve to be treated inhumanely and caged like an animal. So Black, so strong, and together, that is exactly what we are. Thank you for your time. Come on now.
Panther power right there. That's Panther power. We're about this righteousness. Power to the people. Without further ado, we got our next soldier coming up here, the attorney. These are the bullets for our guns. I'm gonna call him Colonel Brian Ford, who is the attorney for Comrade O'Neill.
My name is Brian Ford, and I represent April Green. In December of 2017, Miss Green's nephew, Kieta O'Neill, was murdered by a San Francisco police officer named Christopher Samoa. Ms. Green was invited to speak to you here today to ask you to join our call for justice for Kieta O'Neill. Sadly, Ms. Green has fallen ill and she couldn't be here today. She's scheduled for a major surgery tomorrow, and so I hope you keep her in your thoughts and your prayers. But because she can't be here, she asked me to be her voice. And so I'm here asking you to be our voice too. Kieta O'Neill was an unarmed Black man. He did not pose a threat. He was running past Samoa unarmed. Samoa, who already had his gun out before even seeing Kieta, shot him through the window of his police cruiser as it was still moving. He shot Kieta in the neck and killed him. The officer with Samoa immediately seized Samoa's gun so that Samoa would not pose a risk to other persons in the public. This is a terrible and a tragic and an all too familiar story of an unarmed Black or brown man being murdered by police. But in 2020, the streets were alive with people power. The people had said enough. The people demanded change. And in 2020, Christopher Samoa became the first cop in San Francisco history to be criminally charged with a homicide for killing someone on duty. Now, I told you we need your voice, the voice of the people, and now I'll tell you why. The charges in this case weren't the end of the story, and real justice and real change does not come so easy. The San Francisco Police Officers Association and far-right Republicans funded a recall effort to remove the charging district attorney Chesa Boudin from office. They then funded his replacement, Brooke Jenkins. And even though Brooke Jenkins promised San Francisco that she would hold all people equal under the law, that she would hold police accountable under the law, well, last week, Brooke Jenkins broke that promise to San Francisco when she announced her decision to dismiss the charges in this historic case.
Shame!
Christopher Samoa, who's been out free since the murder of Quieto O'Neill, while Mumia's in, while many others are in. He has walked free and he will not face an evidentiary trial, according to Brooke Jenkins. And that's why we need you. Another thing that came from the summer of 2020, the people power of 2020, was a change in California law. This change in law designates the Attorney General's office, the state prosecutorial agency for California, as a priori the agency to investigate and prosecute police for shooting unarmed civilians. That law took effect in July of 2021. This law was specifically passed for this purpose, so that corrupt district attorneys who are more interested in protecting murderous cops than the citizens they are sworn to protect cannot deny the people justice. So we need you to join us in demanding that Attorney General Rob Bonta take over this prosecution. We need you to stand up for justice for Quieto O'Neill. The charges in this case will be dismissed on March 1st if Rob Bonta does not take over the prosecution. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you to say Quieto O'Neill's name. And I want us to say it loud enough so that Rob Bonta can hear us. So I'm going to say his name, and I want you to say Quieto O'Neill. Say his name.
Quieto O'Neill.
Say his name.
Quieto O'Neill.
Say his name.
Quieto O'Neill.
Free Mumia. Thank you.
Quieto O'Neill, baby. ILWU. All of our sister and brother unions out here. Power to the people. We love and appreciate everyone passing through. Our comrade that was responsible for the sound gonna come up next.
Thank you, thank you. We couldn't have done it without ILWU Local 10.
Yeah. We couldn't have done it without you. People.
We couldn't have done it without the drill leaders who've been standing up here. Thankless job. I appreciate y'all leading us out here. I'm the last speaker. We're going to close us out. Remind us why we all came out here in the first place. Today's a very important day for Mumia. Today's a very important day for Tyre. Again, there's going to be a rally at 5:30 in his name. And we've been out in the streets all over the country for Tyre. We've been out in the streets all over the country for Mumia. And there's been a lot of confusion. There's been a lot of confusion.
Yes, I believe it.
But all the people who are still standing here today, we're not confused. So I'd like us all to clarify some things for the people who are confused. And y'all, I came up in the black church, so I'm gonna ask you to be in conversation with me, okay?
Where's the 5:30 rally?
It's at City Hall. 5:30 rally at City Hall today for Tyre. Thank you. Okay, let's clarify something. Let's clarify something for the cops in Memphis. Is driving while black a crime?
No.
Is forgetting to use your turn signal a crime?
No.
Is running for your life from people who want to harm you a crime?
No.
Let's clarify something for the district attorney in Memphis. Is executing a man in the street without a trial a crime?
Yes.
Is beating a man like a rag doll a crime?
Yes.
Is covering your body camera and then lying on your victim a crime?
Yes.
It's very clear.
Yes, it is.
But people are still confused. Let's take it to Philly. Well, actually, let's take it to Ohio. Y'all heard about that rail crash.
Yeah, yeah.
Y'all heard about the smart TD union rail workers who were going on strike. Is it a crime to go on strike?
No.
Is it a crime to organize for sick days?
No.
Joe Biden seems to think it's a crime because he smashed that strike.
Yeah.
Is it a crime to break a strike?
Yeah.
Is it a crime to send a union train down the line with one worker?
Yeah.
And when that train blows up and decimates a community in East Palestine, Ohio, with toxic chemicals, is that a crime?
Yes.
That's right. Let's make it clear for the Democrats and Joe Biden. But now let's take it to Philly. I really hope that Judge Clemens is not confused.
Yes.
Is speaking the truth a crime?
No.
Is joining the Black Panther Party a crime?
No.
Is being a revolutionary a crime?
No.
I hope DA Larry Krasner is not confused. Is putting a man away on false evidence a crime?
Yes.
Is keeping a man from his family, from his children, from his grandchildren, from his dying wife, is that a crime?
Hell yes.
So all of us here, we're very clear on what constitutes a crime. There are people who are still confused. There are Democrats who are still confused, and that's why it's so important that it's got to be us, not these progressives, or so-called progressives. It's going to be the people. One person who has no confusion and who has all the clarity is Brother Mumia Abu-Jamal.
Yes.
He could have sat on his hands. He could have lied on his brothers. He could have stayed quiet. And if he had done that, he would have been out here today free. He would have been out years ago. Instead, Mumia Abu-Jamal remained a revolutionary. He remained a journalist. He kept himself more informed inside four walls than the rest of us out here.
Yeah. Right.
And he traded his freedom for ours.
Yeah.
Mumia's fighting for our freedom inside prison.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is.
That's the type of clarity that we need. Mumia traded his freedom for ours. What are we going to do with our freedom? We're going to free Mumia. What are we going to do?
Free Mumia.
Say it in Philly so Judge Clemens and DA Krasner can hear it. What are we going to do?
Free Mumia.
Say it so that our brothers at the docks in South Africa can hear us. What are we going to do?
Free Mumia.
What are we going to do?
Free Mumia.